Can everyone hear me clearly? If yes, can you type in the chat box yes, so I know that you all can hear me clearly. Okay. Okay, good. I think we can start now. Okay, a very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Raffles University Open Day online seminar. I'm HP Chong, a Senior Education Consultant at Raffles University, and I will be your MC today. Today, our topic is what will I learn in interior design. A lot of people may wish to have their own dream house, but I believe dream house won't appear with the help of interior designer. And of course, the interior design is not only deal with residential, it's also actually also deal with a commercial project like hotel, restaurants, office, shopping outlet, etc. So, so today we are very honored to have our Raffles University Program Director, Mr. Kazil, to be our speaker. Mr. Kazil having a bachelor degree in housing building and branding majoring in interior design from University Science Malaysia and a master degree in visual communication from UiTM. And Mr. Kazil has more than 20 years experience as an interior designer and academician in interior design and education industry. And currently he is a registered member of Board of Architects Malaysia, interior designers and a panel member of Council of Architectural Accreditation and Education Malaysia for Interior Design Program. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Kazil for his sharing. Yeah, over to you, Mr. Kazil.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Chong, for having me for today's sessions about a bit on the introduction of interior design. So before that, I will allow me to share my slide. Let me see. You see my background mirror or not? Is it okay or not?
Yes, it's clear.
From my screen mirror, right? From
yes.
audience
mirror.
screen. Okay, all right, okay. Okay, I think everyone can see my slide.
Yes.
This is an opportunity for me to slot in about you already learn about fashion. All right, later on you're going to, I think today's session is more on design, right? Instead of non-design courses. So you are going to be bombarded I think about all design program that we are offering back in Raffles universities. Okay, the first session we have with Dr. Tan about fashion design. Now it's my turn. Okay, now it's my turn to not selling the program but give some a bit more, what we call it, the knowledge on what is an ID. All right, so allow me to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Hidir bin Kamis. I'm a program director for ID program for Faculty of Built Environment and Regenerative Design, Raffles University. Starting my work with Raffles since 2015. All right, so nearly, if we put year, more to 6 years lah, I'm with Raffles. Before this, I'm with other university as well, and what Mr. Chong explained, plus minus lah, almost 20 years experience in industry and academic as well. So this is a great for me to help and guide, give some sharing what I know, all right, about ID project. Okay, first and foremost, that often people misunderstood, okay, about interior design courses. Okay, some they call it as an interior architecture and some they call it as an interior design. About the interior decorator, okay, so even during my first experience, I'm joining diploma. I'm started my interior design profession with my diploma program. So the first and foremost, all my my cousin, my aunts, my uncles, and everything. Even though my moms, you are going to be a decorator. So that is a misconception that I think that we need to sweep away. Right? We need to put aside. We need to throw it as far as possible about the what make differentiation in between decorator and interior designers. So there will be that you need to make clear about the what is interior decorator and what is the second one is what is the ID is all about. So basically ID is a professional courses. That is the first things that you must clearly understand. You go to any universities that offered ID, you would bear in mind that ID courses is a professional courses. Seems like architecture, seems like accountant, seems like engineers, seems like architects courses. So it's a qualified. Our certificate, either diploma or degree holders, is a qualified by education. So means that what you learn, what you have, what you experience, hopefully in Raffles universities later on, that is a qualified by some certain bodies. Okay, that certain bodies that monitored our syllabus, right? So after you having some studies that you must have some experience. Okay, even though one of our contexts that we have in our syllabus is the industrial training, we allow student, we push student to go for industries for 6 months for degree, for 1 semesters for diploma students. So after you a complete package, then that would verify you as a qualified interior designers by getting the examination by the professional body. So when we talk of professional bodies, interior design profession, actually in Malaysia we have one professional bodies that recognize and or organize the all ID students or ID graduates, ID holders in Malaysia, that we call it as a Malaysian Institute of Interior Designers or MIID. Right? So to be a professional interior designers, you must register with the Malaysian Institute of Interior Designers first before you are allowed to get a professional ID with Lembaga Architect. Alright, so when we talk professional courses, then we also have our act. Alright, we park our act with Lembaga Architect Act 1967, Act 117. So one under clause 117B, there will be a stated clearly what is the ID is all, interior design is all about. So by having professional definition for interior designers, that you can really, I do hope that you can really understand clearly, distinguish in between what is decorator and what is ID. So decorator, they don't need, all right, decorator, they don't need any professional qualified education. Everybody can be the decorator. All right. Your mom is the best, is a good decorator. All right. This week, your arrangement of your sofa, tables, this side. The next month, change to other side. For Hari Raya, for Chinese New Year, they change colors, wall. Today, this year, we change to green. Next year, we change to blue. That is a part of decorator things that we, as interior designers, we do certain portion, only how many percentage on that. But the most of the things that we deal with the space, all right, we deal with the space. If I give you some analogy of what is ID is all about, ID actually, if you can put, we as a specialist doctors, medical people, that who diagnose, who treat, who heal, who cure, who solve the space. We are dealing with a lot of issues. We need to diagnose, we need to identify, we need to strategize, we need to analysis, we need to synthesize. We need to treat how we are going to solve on that particular existing space, and how we are going to heal at certain area that we need to do some repair. We need to solve on how, in terms of movement of the people, in terms of the arrangement of the furniture, in terms of the electrical, in terms of the wiring, in terms of the structure, door, window, ceiling, everything. At the same time, we enhance, we are not do a beautification. So that is what makes difference in between decorator and designers. Decorator, they do beautification, make certain portion of the spaces beauty. But when we as an ID, we enhance. When we deal with enhance, we deal with the space, we deal with the people, we deal with the psychology factors. For who? For the users of the space. We are not designing the space for us. We design a space for the users. Who is the users of that particular space? If you're designing a space for universities, who is your users? Who is your client? The students, the lecturers, the staff, the administration staff, everything. If you're designing an office for Microsoft Office, Microsoft Teams, for example, and Microsoft. So that is the group that you are going to design. If you're designing a space for elderly people, a lot of do and don'ts, regulation that deal when you deal with the space for elderly people, for kids. Every criteria, every age group, every groups of people, they have their own requirement. So that is what we enhancing. Apart from the beautification, we enhance. So the existing space. Okay. So we deal with the space. So we as an interior designers, we are not a linear only one way, only one point A to point B. And you start from point A, you end at the point B, and that is a linear style. So we interior designer, we are multitask. What is multitask? We do a lot of things at one time. Okay. So that's why you need to clearly understand the scope of the interior designs. So interior design, like what Mr. Chong explained, is not only on the residential, even though residential or domestic interior is a common for us. It's a quick project, is a quick job for you to earn. All right. You want to secure a lot of project, this is the space, this is the project, this is the scope for you, the residential design. But how you design the space for that housing, it's different based on your client, right? The owner of the house. If your client of the house want more to Mediterranean style, you need to follow the Mediterranean style. If your client required you to design a house looks like a very nature, then how you're going to use your creativity, use your ability to strike, to show this is the concept that they want to have, that you want to have for your client. So residential design is a common, all right, for interior design project. So the next one is not about residential. We talk about the hospitality, servicing people to service to the people. We give a space that serve to the people. What kind of hospitality design that we always deal with? Hotel, especially hotel. Hotel required a special interior designers to handle with. All right. Yes, we have architect, but the scope of the interior, the scope of the hotel requirement, usually architect will pass to interior design to handle from the interior side. Architect only do the envelope, the form of the hotel, the form of the building, but who's going to specialize on that area for the interior side? So this is where we came into the industries, right? The hospitality design, restaurant. Okay, we can categorize under hospitality because of we serve people. How natures nowadays, if you look during pandemic, how all the Grab people and grab food, food panda, right? Even though there will be some sort like a requirement to provide those spaces, special space for them to collect the food. So this is where ID, one of the ID scope that we have. Office design or corporate branding. All right. Office design. Office design is not as simple as what we think. All right, because office design, they deal with the furnitures, they deal with the almost 70% the users of the space that deal with the workstation table, do their work. So it's more to the ergonomic, it's more to anthropometrics, it's more on the workstation design, it's more about the circulation, it's more about the process of the workflow. If you want to design an office, you must understand what is the nature of the office, what is the business of that particular office. All right. If the process, if the company that, if the office that you design is the architect's office, you must understand what is the process from A, B, C, D, and E until end of the process. So our job is to reduce the difficulties people to, so that the users of the space easy to do the process things, right? So we deal with the lighting, we deal with the finishing and everything. All right. So nowadays during pandemic, we still have our own requirement, SOP. We need to follow some certain of the SOP. Okay, some said that open space for office design nowadays is not practical anymore. This is what they debate. All right. The academic and the industry and with the professional, they debate, saying that open space nowadays for any design, including office, is not valid anymore because of the pandemic, airborne, and pandemic COVID, they spread through airborne. So back to the traditional, conventional punya approach, which we use back to the partitioning. I don't know whether that one is correct or not, but this is where they look on the how we do with the office design in the futures after the post-pandemic. We do on institutional design, library, right? Library, universities itself, okay. School, museum, which is you deliver the knowledge. Right? When we talk about the institutional design, we talk about how you transfer, you get the knowledge from, not in a direct way, right? In indirect way. If you go to school, I give you the knowledge, that is the one-to-one communication. But when come to museum, for example, it's not the one-to-one. You deal with the item that they displayed, and you as a visitors, how you can get the knowledge from the exhibition. So that is the things that is very critical that you need the interior designers to handle, to strategize on how you want to transfer the knowledge to the visitors, to the users of the museum, for example. If you're designing the libraries, material, soundproof, and everything, lighting especially, natural light, segmentation of the catalog, rack display, how you're going to deal with. Public space, right? Another area, another scope that ID involved in designing the space, including the public space design, airport, MRT, LRT station, public transport station. That is the space that usually you look in the physically, it looks like that is the architecture of your job. Right? But bear in mind, KLIA 2 designing by ID. KLIA 2, right? KLIA 2 in Sepang, designed by interior design consultant. Right? It's not, might be the architect form of the KLIA 2 designed by the architect, but the interior space of the KLIA 2 designed by the ID consultant, including the signage, right? The facade of the KLIA 2 also include with the involved with the interior design scope. So a lot of area Just matter where your passion, in which part, the demands of that particular state. JB might be, if you work in JB, might be JB the more on residential or commercial. Office might be you less get an experience on institutional or other project kind of project. But whatever it is, you're back to the journey. We go backward a bit and we step back a bit. You look at the journey to be an interior designer. If you look at the certain image, most of the images, you get some inspired that could inspire you. Oh, I'm going to be the interior designers in the future. But how is your journey to be an interior designers? All design program is a unique compared to non-design program. Okay, is a unique. Our profession is unique. Our courses is unique, including fashion, including ID, architect, graphic, multimedia, and thing. We are unique because we are designer. We put into big cluster. We call it as our. That is a designers. How designers think compared to non-design background thing is different. For them, is structured 1-to-1. 1+1 is 2, right? But for us, 1+1 is not necessarily going to be 2. And 1+1 can be 3, can be 4, can be 1. I don't know. All right. That is the uniqueness of the design program, including interior design. So this is how, if you are able to have an opportunity to join Raffles, so maybe this is going to be your look-alike in your near future. The left side, other students is might be on the non-design, account, right, psychology, right. When come to design background, so this is how you are going to be look like. You can ask if you have your cousins, okay, your brothers, your relative that were involved with the design background. So this is where usually lah, they're going to be how design student will be look like. All right. So what is the core area for ID interior design courses? So this is I based on the Board of Architect or Lembaga Architect Malaysia punya requirement. So each of the universities who want to handle want to host ID courses, so you must have these 6 areas. So what it stated on that particular area, the first one is you must provide to your students on design theory and process. What area? ID concept, ID design process, space planning, problem solving, research and evaluation. This is a sub area that you are going to learn. You must provide design theory and process. The second one, you must provide the humanities and environment. You need to learn what is the human factors, relationship between human and the furnitures, human and their surrounding with their environments. You must understand the behavior of the human, and you must learn on the social and the cultural factors as well. The third point is a professional practice. You must know. You must able to know how to be an entrepreneur. For sure, most of our students, I ask, what are you going to do? You are going to be what after you complete your studies, either diploma or bachelor's? My planning is I want to form interior design consultant. So this is where we want. All right. So you need to learn on how the professionalism of the interior design practice in the industries, about the project management, about the ethic, okay, the contract and everything. So rules, regulation, and technology. You learn in terms of the construction. We are not only designing, but we construct as well. You design, you must understand how to construct what you design. It's including furniture, including materials, might be including wall, including ceiling, including anything. You must know how to construct that one. So they involved with the interior construction, they involved with the building construction. You must understand aircon, you must understand types of lighting, all right, piping, that is under the building systems, building safety, law, say building codes and law, building safety in terms of rules and regulation about the what is ID. There will be some sort of area that you need to learn, but that one is only for that area covered only for the bachelor student lah. It's not only on the, we give less understanding for the diploma student. So you need to know about product and material. This is what ID is all about. We deal with the product, we deal with the materials, and we have a new technologies on the materials nowadays. Okay, if you ask me, I'm in 80s, 90s product. All right, so during my age, my time, the product is not exist anymore today. Okay, so there will be a new kind of technologies that they're still evolving, still developing, including the furniture system and your building materials, and including the finishes. So the last but not least, you must able to communicate. But how you communicate, that is another thing. Are you going to communicate verbally? Yes. But at the same time, you must able to communicate visually as well. All right, you must able to draw. Okay, you must able to visualize. You must able to do a writing format specification. There will be some special requirement on how designers read or write the drawing. That we call it as a specification. So all of these things, what we have, I put into quite a big summarize in terms of, we have drawings. That is the first fundamental. New student, always, potential student always ask me, sir, I don't have any ability to draw. Can I join ID? Can or not? Who can give me the answer? Can or not? I don't have any ability to draw. My drawing is not beautiful. I can draw, but my drawing is not beautiful. Can I join? Who can answer me? Can or not?
I think can.
Can.
Yes.
Right. Because
Raffles can train you.
Because drawing is a skill. It's not memorized. Right? If you put one day, in one day you put 30 minutes drawing every day, it can be improve and improve. By end of the semesters, you can see your the changes and the evolution from your early years in Raffles, and with the end of your study, you can see that we often as a lecturer, we often see the improvement, okay, the graph of the student. Each student we have graph, and we monitored progression. We can see your graph too. Oh, you are growth nicely. Your graph is stagnant. Your graph is fluctuate. Okay? The fluctuate. So, but drawing is the very fundamental things that you need to learn. For diploma, we have foundation, sketching and drawing for designers, and for bachelor, we have drawing for designers. And then design principles and theories. You not only learn on how to designing, but you must understand the theory behind the space that you are designing. You need to learn what is form. You need to learn what is line. Even though what is dot, line, shape, form, and then space. So that is the design principles that we have. You need to learn a basic things. So for diploma, we have interior design principles and theory. For bachelor, we have design principles. The scope is similar, but the complexity of the assessment would be different. So technical drawings, another aspect. Right, we have architectural drafting for diploma, 2D computer aided drawing for diploma as well, working drawing into design diploma, drawing for designers for BID, computing for design for the ID. So you need to learn on technical drawings. If you look, most of the subject technical drawing, they fall under diploma. Not only, there are some technical drawings that might be I forgot to put in this list about the BID. BID also have some another computer subject that really deal with the technical part. But this is where we train our student from the technical part into the professional, from the technical into the management, right? So we must able to identify or distinguish in between the difficulties of studies. Diploma, you need to learn on how, until which level. Okay, bachelor, there will be a slightly higher, more theories, okay, more management. Diploma, the more on the semi-professional courses, all right, the technical part. You are able to be an interior designers. So this is our main core studio, design studio project. So we have 4. All right, design studio project, we have 4 for diploma student. The first one, you learn on anthropometric and ergonomics. Studio 2, you learn on the residential. Studio 3, you learn on commercial. And final semesters, you propose your own project for your diploma on the design studio. So we have 4. Right? For bachelor, we have 5. Even though if you look at major studio project 3, they started from major studio project 1, project 2, and project 3. So we have design studio residential, design studio commercial, design studio retail, exhibition, designing major studio project 3. Major studio project 1 is more on research base. We call it as a project thesis. Student propose to the lecturers what they want to bring for the major studios project. So it's a 1-year project. A 1-year project. So major studio project 1, they start to give briefing to us by doing the research project thesis. I call it as a project thesis. Okay, last semester, some of it, they couple of semesters ago, they do some what we call it galleries, seahorse center, for dancing punya center, okay, co-working space area, lot of project. Next semesters, there will be some student, they want to propose market design after post pandemic. Okay, how market design in Malaysia will change or not after during the pandemic issues ni. So they look on that. So there were a lot of reading and writing. So major studio project 2, student need to do some technical subject, technical drawing. They need to understand the site. They need to find their own site. They do the site inventory, site analysis, the site synthesis, and they propose to us, this is my site. If the site feasible with what you do, and then, okay, we can proceed with that. If not, you need to find again and again and again. And then major studio project 3, they student start to execute the ideas. So it's a 1-year project. It's a 1-year project for bachelor students. So you are going to be bored lah. You until vomit, all right, to carry 1-year project. A same topic but different approach. So you also going to learn on product and materials. We have a material sample board that we have back in our Raffles campus. So some of the donate by the companies, ID companies. So we collect and we store in our campus. So you can check and we can use, put it into your sample materials board. So for product and materials, we have furniture design, the ID, furniture design as well for bachelor program, ID materials and finishes for diploma, and bachelor as well, and color theory for BID. So this is where about the communication. It's not only the communication on verbally, but you need to learn as well on how to strike your communication through visually. Right? So we train our students on first year, usually no computer at all, for example. First semester, second semesters, use 100% manual. Use your beautiful hand. All right. So we'll train students from interior presentation technique for diploma. We have design communication for BID and computer graphic skills from BID. Not only for manual, but we also have some how to do graphic in computer. And by using Photoshop, you enhance the image. Some of the theories and liberal studies that we have, humanities and environment, more on theories, subject lectures, and 100% will be lectures. This is where students always sleep lah during the class and during the lectures, especially when it comes to history. History modern design for diploma and history of design past and present for bachelor. This is the area that students always sleep because to learn history. But what kind of history that you're going to learn? We are not look at World War II, World War I. Okay, so we look on how evolution of design, the evolution of architecture from past until today. If I put, we can start to look after 1900 industrial revolution onwards. Right, so this is the area that you need to learn. You're going to a lot of era, a lot of movement, a lot of group of people. Bauhaus lah, this style, what else? Art Deco, Art Nouveau. So this is all the terms, period that involved with the design and architecture. So another area that we give for students is human factors. All right, so what the relationship in between people and their environment. We give nowadays issues on the sustainable design. And we have a special subject for sustainable issues that we highlight for ID, for architecture and for architecture and interior design. How you're going to tackle sunrise, sun path, wind flow. All right. What else? The building orientation, your stack effect factors, humidity in the space, natural light goes in. All right. Body comfort, human thermal comfort. Thermal comfort in the space. So that is the area that we covered on sustainable design. So we not look on the materials of the sustainable on the materials and finishes, but we look also in terms of the construction as well. Right. We look also in terms of the natural sources that we have. So we learn on the design theory. What is the theory that usually will be applied for the designers? How the process of the designing process. So another sleepy subject lah for the student usually. I always call them, please wake up. This is important for you. To learn on the design theory background. We have rules, regulation and technology. We have building materials and technology, building construction and services, construction legislation, and law for creative industries. So we give some early understanding on the regulation and technology for diploma student. We have a building construction and services, and the rest is more to the, especially construction legislation. Right? For bachelor student, and law for creative industries, copyright and everything, issues on copyright. For construction legislation is more on the bomber safety, right? For universal design, akta parit, perumahan dan jalan dan rumah. So that is the area that we covered for students, so that they know when you designing a space, you cannot do this because it's legislated. And they're related to the certain legislation to design the opening. So then you must understand how many percentage that you must have in your space that you must provide the opening, like a window. So we have also on the professional practice for BID and diploma, we have professional practice courses, project management for bachelor's, internship, both for BID and DID. So here we look on the Architect Act 1967 Act 117, rules and regulation that that are related to the interior design, especially on the interior design. If you look at the architect X book, there are a lot of area that they covered, but with only scope, our scope is only merely on the interior design profession. You learn on computer as well. Now is your age. Computer is not mine. Okay, I'm in between manual and computer, but I'm lean on manual, not on the computer savvy, right? So this is your age nowadays, computer technology. So utilize. I see a good opportunity for student if you are able to utilize the computer technology, not only on the visualization on 3D, but some of the student, they do some video, they do some animation, they do some VR things. Okay, it's not in our scope, but your ability, they passion on that, they go that way. Your presentation, your direction is that area, so please go. So they do some of the diploma student last semester, if I'm not mistaken, this semester they use VR to do the presentation. All right, so we are not limit our students' creativity when developing the skills. Right? So this is what you need to learn. So about the computers and technology. So what are you going to do in your future? You learn, you be for diploma 2 and 1 semesters, for bachelor 3.5 years, diploma 2 and 2 years 1 semesters, for bachelor 3.5 years. All right, 3 years 6 months. What you are going to do, what you are going to be. Ask yourself, if your passion as an pure ID, you have an ability to manage, your ability to, professionalism, then you go for the interior design consultant. Practice, go practice. Create your own, build your own ID consultant. The demand is still there. Don't worry about that. Even though during pandemic, right? Even though during pandemic, but the recently information, then the business is strike again, and the strike again. We pause lah. We are not full stop during pandemic. We pause a while in terms of the construction, because of everybody and every industry they affected. But now I heard in KL they start to strike back again. JB also I heard, and they start to strike back again in terms of the ID punya profession, project, ID project. So if you are passionate on consultant, go for interior design. But you want to be interior designers, you must do the proper way. Be a professional interior designers. Not only for consultant, you can go for construction. Be a project manager. Be a contractor. If you more on that area, then go for that. I'm not, the way I'm dressing, I'm just, rugged style, wear jeans, everything. I'm not the office type of people, then I'm outside type of people, then go for project manager, construction manager. Be a contractor, design and build for every project. If you're passionate on product design, go for industry for furniture. We are multitask. We have a scope. ID is a huge, big. Right? It's not only one profession. Be an interior designer. No, not. If you are good in illustrator, I have a few students that good in illustrating, then go for illustrator. Right? If you are good in 3D, then go for 3D. If you are good in manual rendering, then you go for manual rendering. Some of my ex-students, they create a workshop rendering using the watercolor. And alright, a lot of people nowadays, when they use Facebook and they use other social media to promote, then they sell the product and everything, right? So this is where you can be like that. So when we talk about profession, ID don't limit into to be an interior designer. You can be educator, you can be like us, and you can join academic. So the scope of interior designers is too big. All right, you can be in-house designers, for example. All right, you can work with Nippon Paint, you can work with Daikin, Econ. We have specialized in interior design. They have those team, they have their own design, they have their own design team, consists of architect, consists of the builders, consists of the interior design, right? So that we call it as an in-house designers, right? So you can go to the suppliers, be a suppliers. You passion on the paint, you go to the paint supply, floor material suppliers, then you go for that suppliers. So it's not about to be an interior designers. If we have 100 people enroll ID, 100 people end up be an interior designers, who's going to handle the rest of the sub area? All right, so might be at the moment, maybe, yeah, like I put myself, for example, during my study, I want to be an interior designer. You see how I'm end up. I'm not end up as an interior designer. I end up would be lecturers, right? So I'm not going to end up the entire. So a lot of potential that you can explore. Might be at the moment you not identify what is your area, what is your specialize. But once you learn slowly and slowly and slowly, later on you can see passion, your passion in which part, in which area. Right? Might be your passion is not on interior designer. Might be I'm a, I'm going to be open an I'm going to be an entrepreneur, but bakery. You have the knowledge of design, right? You have the, even though you open and bake a bakery later on, not to be an interior designer, but you use the knowledge that you learn in during your studies to, you can see what is the difference between your cake and others, right? So without that, might be is a typical, I don't know what types of cake lah, layer cake, something like cheesecake, something like that. But what make different your cheesecake and others' cheesecake? You have a knowledge in design, for sure. You could enhance, can you do a beautification, you create more better cheesecake compared to others. So I'm not encourage you to be a business on the cake lah, and pastry everything too. But we have some, learn from the past, can we learn from the past. A lot of interior designers nowadays become what? Event manager. But look on how they manage the event. Totally different. Why? Because of they have the knowledge on, they have a foundation, and they have the knowledge foundation about designing things. They able to manage on design one thing, manage people one thing. They have an ability to understand people. What is the people requirement, the client requirement, and what others requirement, then they can blend it together, so be a one superb outcome. Lot of people is going to be like that. What else? A few, not from the Raffles lah, but from my previous universities, become makeup artists. All right, but the way how they do the makeup things is different. I once lah, I asked them, why you put that way? Because of the knowledge that I learned. So they create the punya own. They create the product. Now I think millionaire. I forgot the brand of the makeup. Alright. So it's not about ID. It's about what passion, what area that you're going to channel yourself. A lot of interior designers that background ID work with IKEA. Right. A lot of even though we send one of our students intern in IKEA, Johor Bahru, right? So why not? Why not? I have my friend that end up artist, painter. It's not be an interior designer, but become a painter, art artist. But the way how they do the art, no, is more on the form, form space. They utilize. They love a lot on design theory. They learn on how line and everything. So that is the channel. Be an artist. So vague interior design courses ni is a vague course. So just matter we are cannot be an architecture. If you want to be an architecture, you need to start all over again. Right? I agree. You have diploma, you want to go architecture, but you need to start all over again. All right. So to end up my presentation, I share you last semester. This is our bachelor students do for their major 3. Major studio project 3. Last semester, we just complete our semester just now. So this is the recent project that I can share with you. So this is from our product. What the students do is the dance pavilion. So they study, she studies on how the beauty of dance in Malaysia. We have a multi-races kind of dance. We have Malay, we have Chinese, we have Indian, and others. How they're going to put into one center, one pavilion, so that they can showcase the beauty of dancing, the Malaysian dance to the world. So they call it as a getaran. To find the getaran ni a long story, because of this project is very conceptual. How they found getaran is a vibration, right? Because of the lot of story, there are a long story, but end up the project would, they call it the concept of the project would be the getaran. So that's why you can see all these ribbons thing, everything they reflect to the this is how they develop the ideas. If you can find my if you see follow my mouse, so this is how they find the concept of the project, right? Everything that they provide, there are a meaning behind that. Why they choose this color, there are a story why they choose this one. Why the form will be like this, there will be a reason behind that. So this is, we want to find the potential that you have, because every of you have a different potential. We want to discover what is the potential that you can show to us at the end of the semesters. All right, so this is what we have. Get a good compliment from our panel this semesters. We invite from Japan, our external. All right, postgraduate student, original from Finland but study in Japan. So a big compliment from the external panel about this project. This is another one. This is a co-working space, the same batch. I only can take 2 examples. Right. So look at what the studies. So during the major one, they want to do a what co-working space only handle that what we call it, only for the design profession. Before this co-working space, they open for any profession. And accountant, you can have law, you can, but how the co-working space will be look like if the space we only cater for that certain group, which is design profession. So you can see when we talk about design, the co-working space, the space and beyond that deal with the area confirm, will be sure different from the current existing co-working space that we have in the market nowadays, because each area, each discipline, they carry different requirement. Fashion, they need to have the punya platform, they need to have the punya walkway, what the stage. Graphic, they need to utilize all this VR and everything. Architects, they need to display the things, they need the workstation for them to do. But the way how these students discover during the studies, so this is how they interpret what is the what he found during his major one, his project thesis. Right. So, like what I said, hopefully you love ID. You will love on the interior design profession. So to end my slide, stay safe. Right. Thank you very much. I open for question. Chong, you mute your.
I'm sorry, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now is the Q&A sections. If anybody have questions, please unmute your mic, or you can type your questions in the chat box. So and time is actually very limited. Please give your questions.
One or two question.
Yeah. Yeah. Give your question now. Okay, Mr. Kazi, actually I have one question here. Can you tell us about the assessment method of this interior design program?
Assessment method.
Yeah, I think they are less paper exam, right?
Less paper exam. Yeah. I would say almost 90% will be studio-based project. Studio-based assessment means that, for example, for diploma, apart from our university subjects, okay, MPU modules, those kind of things, we only have one paper that core subject that only have final exam, which is history. For bachelor program, we have three, law, project management, and professional practice. We have final exam. The rest would be 100% assessment, studio. All right. So means that you're going to utilize your life to in the studio to almost 90%. Because our class, our lectures will be conducted in studio. All right. If you are able to visit our campus, we are located at level 10 on the left side of the studio, left or right side, and depends on which lift elevator that you are came in, right? So we are located at level 10. So you can see all of our students will be spend most of their time there, right? So I would say 90% of our modules will be evaluated using studio. 100% will be a studio submission. Only 10-15% have a final exam.
Okay, thank you. There's another question asking, due to this COVID-19, it will affect the opportunity for interior design?
At the early stage, yes. During the first pandemic, MCO, right? Dia a bit macam upset and the hiccup a bit during the first MCO back in March 2020, right? During that time, everything stopped, just stopped like that, man. So we affected, especially for consultant that involved in the construction. Everything stopped, and then during the first stage of the MCO, then it affected. But now, last weeks I met with the MMID peoples and I'm able to meet some of my seniors and colleagues. They said that nowadays KL pun they start climb back in terms of IDB project, interior design project. So same goes during recession. I've experienced recession time period during 1998, 1997, 1998, 1999. During that time, everything stopped. But ID projects still continue because of most of the big company, they downsize the business. They still need to find a new space to run the business. So they still need our help to do some renovation things. So big company affected, but some of the company that still keep going but slow.
Okay.
Right.
So I think we are going to end our session here, so our time limited. Thank you again, Mr. Kaziel, for his wonderful and insightful sharing. And thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Hope to see you again. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.